Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
Muffin is a half tabby, half calico who loves giving kitten kisses. Buddy is part lab, part husky, and he chases balls. Kirby is part fire, part bomb, spike, and lightning, and he loves to combine these in new ways to destroy his enemies. So, we have two wonderful pets to choose from.
Kirby 64. Rated E for everyone.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. I'm your host, Mick, and you can find me and I'm joined by
Tyson.
Cool. I started doing the intro to a different show there. A review, retrospective, let's play pop culture show. So we're going to look at a little bit of all that and tie it around the theme of the game that we're playing today, which is Kirby 64. Oh, the Crystal Shard.
Yes, that's very important because you do a lot of collecting of crystal shards.
Yeah, well, not to be confused with the 64th game in the Kirby series, where this is only the 7th game in the Kirby series. So that's
yes.
Cool.
You know what? And I feel like they really screwed up the 64 labeling with that. That's going to really come back and bite us.
Oh yeah.
But when Conquer 64 actually comes out, like, I mean, what's going to happen?
Like, that's the game you're worried about. Conquer. They've had one.
Yeah,
so you're like, the next
that's
62 entries, you're gonna be like sweating, be like, oh no.
Constantly, it's all I'll think about when I play the next 62 games that are definitely coming, and that's not a dead franchise. No,
not at all. The Rare is coming back hard and strong, and they're like, man, remember how good Banjo-Kazooie was? Oh, you had to collect all the coins in one go, or you had to restart the level. That was a good idea.
Oh yes, very much so, and it wasn't clunky to use and run around.
Not at all.
Yes, well, you know what? That's a clunky 3D game. We're not dealing with a 3D game today. We're dealing with a 3D game that's a 2D side scroller.
Yep, that's it. On the powerful N64. Like Tyson alluded to, we were playing Kirby 64 today. It was developed by HAL Laboratories. It sold 1.77 million copies. Released was June 26, 2000. How Long to Beat has this game at 4 hours. On eBay, you get a copy of this game for about $58 to $85. And doing some research today, listening to a different podcast that talked about this, they said that they were able to find carts for like $25 on eBay. So if you did some hunting and you wanted to pick it up, very simple thing to get into your collection. On eShop, it would cost you $64 a year.
Ooh, wow. What a price for this game. I mean, I don't think you'd get a lot of content if you bought this game flat. $20 seems like a fair price for this game.
I feel like really
$85, and I would be livid.
Yeah.
I paid more for when I originally bought this game, but we'll save that story for a little later.
I know, I'm excited for that, and I'm wondering if that's the only reason why we played this game was for that story part. So we're gonna you can play this on an original cart, the N64 online, an emulator, and somewhere I found they had like the Kirby's Dream Collection released in 2012 for the Wii, which I randomly bought at some point when we went to Future Shop.
Nice. I miss Future Shop.
Yeah, and it then just randomly closed. Remember, like, they were just like, they literally just boarded the doors up. It was closed one day. Yeah, and I feel like it was like right before then we had went out, and I don't know, I just must have got paid or something, and I bought it with you and Mom. And
I feel like they also did have some like old games that were just like little gems that I wanted to grab, and I was like, fuck, why was this closed?
Right? Like, had they told me, I would have bought stuff.
Best Buy bought them.
Yeah.
But it was stupid. Like, they closed the Future Shop, and then they proceeded to build a Best Buy across the street. And it's like, okay, but like, you keep this open while you build that. You don't just build that for 3 years and leave us without something to buy. Anyways,
I bet you there was more overlap than you're making it out to be. Anyways, what we like to do before we get back into this, guys, is we're talking about maybe 2012 or later, sometime after the release of that Kirby collection for the Wii. let's talk about when this game actually came out and do what Podtendo does best and jump into our patented time travel machine. I don't know why I'm talking like I'm an anime character or something, but my fist is raised over my head. If you can sense that through the audio, that's how it's working. And we travel back to the distant past in June 26, 2000. We ask the age-old question, will my grandfather ever be avenged?
Yeah, I got to charge up a few times during there, and we got to cut to commercial at some point.
That's right. I was a little too concise. But all right. On this one, though, guys, because there's a monumental story coming up. Oh, we're going to build up the story, and, like, people are going to be very disappointed. But anyways, a monumental story coming up. So we got to set the stage. I got to let Tyson know what was life like back then. He's a functional person. Let's see what's happening. On The Simpsons, you could have watched Season 10, Episode 23, 30 minutes over Tokyo. Like, okay, remember that one?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, maybe start of downfall of Simpsons, but you know, it's
you didn't know that at the time, though, so you're like, cool. Top TV shows was Survivor. I guess that started this year. Survivor, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Big Brother, Gilmore Girls, and CSI.
Oh, so this was the summer of the us playing Survivor while out on the dock and doing random challenges. The summer.
Oh yeah. That's
Okay.
it. And
That's
I don't
this
like.
time.
I could at that point sing the Survivor song. I don't know how it goes, but I imagine it's annoying. And like, be honest with you, going back to that lake and like hearing people talk, I'm like, I'm glad I don't live here anymore because you can hear everything. Top cartoons that came out this year were Clifford, Kong, the animated series, Jackie Chan Adventures, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Static Shock, X-Men Evolution, and Weekenders.
Ooh.
Right.
I mean, I was watching a lot of these cartoons.
Man,
so-
this fall, like, this time, 24 years ago, well, it's like September right now, right? You're like, oh, baby, this is lovely. Look at this. My Saturday mornings are absolutely full. I got Static Shock, X-Men Evolution, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon.
Yep. Jackie Chan's like filling in those gaps, and the Weekenders for like, you know, I love the Weekenders. This is a great little show.
Yeah, I like the pizza place that always changes. I was just like, genius. All right, top movies that came out this summer was this week. We could have saw Me, Myself, Irene, The Patriot, and The Perfect Storm. Still in theaters, you could see Shaft, Big Mama's House, and Shanghai Noon. And if you waited a week or two, you could see Scary Movie and X-Men.
Oh, okay. I also remember a story about this.
Yeah.
We definitely did go see Scary Movie on your birthday, and I got pulled out.
Somewhere around, some point this summer we went, and like halfway through the movie, my mom was like, I don't want to tell how old Tyson was in the story, but he was like, this is inappropriate. So you guys went and watched the end of Perfect Storm?
I want to say it was like a huge chunk of that movie, because I've rewatched that movie one other time, and I feel like I remembered everything from it.
Okay,
so.
all right.
It was all right.
So, yeah, no, it was good parenting, right? Like, you make mistakes, you got to pull the kid out and be like, no, we can't have penises going into people's ears. That's not.
I think it was the gym teacher scene where she unfolds her legs. That was the scene that was like, nope.
You know what? Like, I'm not going to go on a rant on Scary Movie or anything here, but like, Scary Movie, Anna Faris is hilarious. Like, she is one of the funniest female doesn't even just comedians nowadays, and like she's very underplayed, but like the work she puts in the first couple Scary Movies, the way she reacts to everything, very good. Not the best movies, kind of dumb, definitely raunchy, a little cringy, probably would get you canceled nowadays, but like Anna Faris, especially like I said, the first two, she plays it very well, and like is very attractive, but plays up the goofiness. I don't know, it's just it's go back and watch just for Anna Faris, and you'll be like, man, she is delightful.
She's super underrated.
Incredibly underrated. Like I don't know why she doesn't do more. I mean, probably because she has lots of money.
Yeah, and you know, we'll never know. She might have kids or something, or might have a family, and she wants to spend time with the family, which I more than respect. Because I mean, she earned her paychecks by like, these are timeless performances, and everybody just kind of like shrugs it off. It's like, no, like point at another like really solid performance in a parody movie that just carries the entire movie. Yeah,
and like I think they kept going. Like there's a reason they kept her around, and the rest of the crew got thrown to the side because they're like, oh, this girl's just like comedy gold, right? So if you do go back, especially October coming up, you watch one of those, you'd be like, She is really good. Okay. Unless you have something else to say about Scary Movie?
No,
Okay.
it's excellent. I was thinking about watching some Know What You Did Last Summer, but I'm like, maybe I just watch Scary Movie instead because
You can do like the parody though.
I like the I'm not crazy, and then she just like runs away
Oh.
all crazy. So
Genius.
funny.
Absolutely genius. Top video games released this month, specifically June 2000. We got Vampire the Masquerade, Redemption, all one game, Tomb Raider on the Game Boy Color, Legend of Dragoon, Deus Ex, and Diablo 2.
Oh dang. Okay, we were definitely playing some Legend of Dragoon for sure.
Oh yeah, I got some jujubes. I bought those big packs of jujubes from the candy store, or like the store was like $5. Sat there and ate the whole thing while I played Legend of Dragoon.
We also we're so old that there used to be penny candies, children. There used to
Why
be.
are you throwing shit? You know how much of my mortality I've fought with this year? Like I'm at the point where like, oh, I'm definitely not young anymore. I feel that, and now we're talking about penny candies.
Sorry, man. I just like you mentioned how like I got a big thing of jujubes for $5. I'm like, yeah, man. Remember penny candies? You could go to the store
You
with
know what?
$1, and you came out a rich kid. You're just like, I got 100 candies.
But it was like,
they may
what-
not be the best, but they're like 100 of them. Who cares?
It was like one of our like co-ops though, so like you could go in and like you could buy like the bigger like bulk bags. I feel like $5 wasn't that good of a deal for a bunch of jujubes.
Yeah.
Like, it should have been like $2.
Depending on the bag, I feel like you're walking around with like a head-sized bag of jujubes.
But like you think you got one of those like those rare the Dare ones from like a Safeway. It's probably like I don't think inflation on candy is like hit as hard as we think. So thankfully candy is still cheap and affordable in our lives.
Nick, why are you mentioning inflation and the candy? Let's not put that.
Because you started
thought
making
into
me feel old.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. So that was what the world looked like, and you're like, oh, cool. I kind of remember that. Sure.
Yeah, I think we had a fun time reminiscing because
Yeah.
it's like, well, I definitely remember this vividly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, very landmark kind of year in our lives. There you go, in our lives. Development details of this fun game. Now we know what the pop cultural landscape looked like. So Kirby 64 is the first game to have 3D graphics in the series. It was originally meant to be released on the 64DD, but was changed after it failed commercially. A year before release, they were working on controlling Kirby with the joystick, but at the 1999 Space World Expo, developers noticed small kids had trouble using the Z button when using the joystick, so they opted to go with the D-pad for smaller kids.
Ah, boo, bad idea.
Yeah. I mean it's
It's
kind of
perfect.
a game.
It's a trigger. It's a trigger. Like it's right there. It's a trigger.
Yeah, but it's like kind of a game for kids, so I'm like,
Yeah, I get it. Well,
Yeah.
this very much so is a game for kids, and we'll might get into that when it comes to my complaints.
yeah. So I'm like, I have complaints, but again, they were making a game for small kids. Okay, cool, awesome. You were supposed to be able to play as Waddle Dee and King Dedede. Ribbon the Fairy was conceived as a means to switch between the player's characters, but it wasn't finished in the time for release. That kind of explains why Waddle Dee, King Dedede, and the painter girl, the little French girl, I don't know what her name is, but she's definitely French with her little beret. They were all playable characters. It was supposed to be 4-player at some point, but they kind of just ran out of time.
Under delivering again, Kirby 64.
Typical. Where was I? Something ribbon release. The release was delayed so the team could have more time to polish the game. Okay. And it was re-released on the Wii and Wii U Virtual Consoles in 2008 and 2015. It was also included in the Kirby's Dream Collection in 2012 for the Wii.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like they put more work into this game.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, here it is.
So I
Enjoy.
kind of feel like they... I was thinking about this. I was like, so we've done all the other Kirby games, right? So we did one with the Game Boy, which I know we did. Then we did Kirby's Dream Land 3 for the NES, which I think was released pretty late in that cycle. But we didn't play Kirby and Dream Land 4 for the Super Nintendo.
No.
But we played
No,
this. But again, I think all the Kirby games kind of released late. Like the NES Kirby game looks like a Super Nintendo game. And then there was also a Super Nintendo game, right? And it just kind of feels like, I mean, 2000. When's the GameCube come out? 2000? So, like, they're nipping on the heels of the next console. Probably just got released just in the nick of time to be still on the N64, but not relevant. But then have it's like this full-priced game with all these bargain games for the system that you're, like, trying to launch a new system. It just seemed really, really messy. And I don't know, like, was Kirby on the Super Nintendo a bad idea? Like, should they have just jumped into this game's development?
I just don't see why this game needed to exist, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Controls for this game. It is a semi-2D platformer. All right, the direction pad moves Kirby. You can jump and fly. You can also absorb enemies and gain their abilities. You can also mix and match to get a total of 36 power-ups in this game. But after listening to some podcasts today, they told me there was 7 power-ups. Times 7, that gets you 49, plus another 7 if you count the originals, and it's 56. Is there 56 power-ups in this game? I think that's too many. I don't think there's that many.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
I feel like there's probably like, oh yeah, so there is only 36 because there's duplicates.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because, anyways, there's some number out there. 36. I wrote that down because I Googled it. Good job, me. Each star you visit has 5 levels and a boss. You must collect various shards from each level in order to get the best ending. Cool. Controls of this game. They controlled
move right, jump.
Yeah.
Fly a little bit until you get tuckered. And then use ability and suck up.
It kind of feels like Kirby controls like a Smash Brother character, and it's a fighting game, but it's a platformer. So it's kind of awkward, and it doesn't really work, and it's just not super fluid, and it shows. I don't know. That'd be like my review of the game. The controls don't seem totally polished. I don't know if entirely if they knew what they were doing. And yeah, the controls, they were things.
Yeah, and there's things that like you think you could be able to do, like in past Kirby games or most other platformers. If you're on a platform, you hold down, you press the jump button, you jump down. Sometimes that's just not a thing because it's like, no, this is a different type of platform and texture. So I feel like they were overthinking a lot of stuff. And yeah, just the content of this game is pretty lackluster. Like, we'll get into some of the levels and courses, but for the most part, it's kind of like maybe 3 sections, maybe 4 sections.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there might be a slight platforming or a slight puzzle, and then the level's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it does just feel super like, which, you know, if you're going to give this to a 5-year-old, perfect. They easily could work their way from start to finish of the levels, because, like...
Yeah, I don't think it's a game that 30-year-old men need to go back and play, harshly criticize. It's because it's just not meant for us, right? And like going back, it shows archaic. We'll get into it a little bit. We'll go through the review. We did level notes, and then I kind of have like a side quest cinema review, so we can go through like favorite parts, least favorite parts, and talk about those things then.
Okay.
Right. So we will get to those criticisms, but yeah, like I kind of echo. I think it's just it's there. It's on the N64, but why? All right. First memories of this game. All right, we're gonna let Tyson. We're gonna lay out the stage. Tyson, what are your first memories of Kirby 64?
I remember, I think picking this game out for my birthday.
So you had money. You went to the store. What specifically drew you to Kirby 64?
Well, one of my favorite games growing up was Kirby's Dream Land 2 on the Game Boy, because I played a lot of that game. The handheld at the time didn't have a lot of games, so I played a lot of Kirby's Dream Land 2 because it was also a simple game that I could easily just beat from start to finish.
Sure.
Because it was a light, easygoing experience. Saw the ad and Nintendo Power was like, oh, sick. It looks like it's 3D and I can run around and there's actually things to explore. So, remember getting it for a birthday, playing it, and immediately, I think it was the first level, I was like, it's 3D. Why can't I run around? I just go right. That's it. I was so like pissed off and so heartbroken, and then I like played the second level. It's like, yep. And I think I beat the whole first world, but it was just like I was bitterly playing it, being like, it's never gonna change. And it's just run right the game. It's like I was so like mad that I think I beat the second level, started the second world, and it was the exact same thing. And I was like, no, I'm done. I want to get something else. Can I return this? And I think we tried to return it, but because it was opened, I couldn't return it. So I ended up being stuck with it. And then I ended up selling it to the neighbor kid down the road and tried to get at least some money from this waste of experience.
That's funny. Yeah, so that's my memory. My recollection is of this, as well as Tyson being kind of stoked on this game. Now, looking, I think we had a Nintendo Power issue. I did pull up Nintendo Power issue 134 from July of 2000. It does have Kirby and the crystal shards on the cover, right? Flipping through that, it's like, I'm like, oh, I definitely remember staring at these pages for hours and hours, and you see the power-ups, and they show you all the different combinations you can do. They show you the different weapons, the shard worlds. It's kind of like an old school, like, Nintendo Power walkthrough. Like, it literally shows every, neat, cool. So I could definitely see how you were drawn into something like that. And you're like, ooh, wow, this looks kind of cool. I'm sorry that you had such a terrible experience with the game. You just kind of run right and it's kind of boring. And I do remember thinking it was silly to lose value on this. But I could also see being so like disgusted with a purchase that you just need to like out of your house.
Yeah, well, at that point, I was never going to play this game again. It was just going to sit on a shelf, and I was just going to be miserable at it because it's a nothing game. Like, this game does nothing. Should not, like... Is the Nintendo 64 have a deeper library for having Kirby 64? No. Does the Kirby franchise move forward having this game? No. It's like, this game could literally be blipped from existence, and the only person who is affected is I'm slightly better off.
Yeah, fair. Let's see, like, 1.7. 1.7. It's actually the 28th best-selling N64 game of all time.
And 1.6 million disappointed people.
Yeah. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, it's better than that. Turok, Banjo-Tooie, Mario Golf, Paper Mario. Jet Force Gemini. The World Is Not Enough. Bomberman 64. Man, crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to see where people actually rank this game.
Well, that's just like
I think it definitely sold better
okay.
than
all right.
It was.
Yeah, it's kind of... I don't know why this was on the list other than Tyson telling that specific story about a failed purchase from a child. I think that's the only reason we're actually playing this game. So now that that's told, we're going to do story. We'll run through the levels quickly. This is going to be a very fast podcast, I have a feeling. We'll talk a little bit about like how frustrated we are with it. Be good times. All right, so the story of Kirby 64. I know you're dying to find out what happens in this game. So in a distant corner of the galaxy, fairies live peacefully on their planet called Ripple Star. But then one day, a mysterious black cloud appears and surrounded the peaceful planet. The cloud, a sinister force known as dark matter, had come in search of the fairies' secret treasures, their shining crystals. A fairy named Ribbon knew that this dreadful thing would come to pass if dark matter gained control of the powerful crystal. She grabbed the shiny stone and escaped from Ripple Star just before the planet was completely engulfed. But as Ribbon fled, 3 dark clouds split from the mass of dark matter to chase her through space, and when they caught her and attacked her, the fairy's crystal shattered into tiny shards which dropped on falling stars in the solar system. Still holding one piece of the crystal shard, Ribbon fell onto a planet called Popstar, where, perhaps fate, she ran into Kirby. After hearing their desperate plight, Kirby resolved to help Ribbon recover all of the crystal shards. You mean
that's not in the game? I feel like that's added.
Well, maybe the manual. And I think like it shows her like running and like talking to Kirby, and then Kirby's just like, hi.
I feel like there's like 2 characters they made gesture at each other in a sense.
Yeah. Playing the game? No, not a sniff of what was going on. Like, but I guess that's the story. So, there you go.
That is. I mean, you know, now you can see why they hooked me.
Yep.
You're like, there's actually some intrigue, you know.
I think you're almost back in. All right, let's get back into these levels. We got to talk about all 7 levels. So level 1 is Pop Star. It's a verdant world with wide open grasslands, deep forests, and ancient castles. The boss here was Wispy Woods.
Yes. Yeah, pretty straightforward. First one, I think it's got a couple hidden blocks where you have to use the right item combination or whatever to actually get the actual crystal shard.
Yeah, if that's something you're out seeking, they definitely potentially follow a guide, as well as a big mechanic in this game. I know we didn't really allude to it, is the power-up combinations. I think we mentioned it briefly, but you can kind of take one of your power-ups, mix it with another, and give you any number of combinations. If you had a Nintendo Power, had your smartphone, you could kind of pull up a list, see what you like. And then, like Tyson alluded, there's just like, they're kind of like the lock-in keys of the game. For some reason, you might need like double flame to get certain unlockables, right? So...
Yeah, but it's pretty straightforward. Like, you can kind of work it out. Like,
well, it's color-based, right?
Yeah, so if, like, something needs the green power-up, it's going to be a green block.
Sure.
If it's a mix of, like, green and brown or whatever, it's good. Hey, guess what? If you use your eyes, it's nice that it leads you. Like, it's using visual cues. Like,
Yeah.
that's good game design.
Yeah.
That's good game design.
Very much so. And the colors, now, again, it might be kind of difficult to know who does what, because there was a couple enemies that like I would kill, but apparently they were like cutting enemies. But then sometimes I don't know. I was like, okay, again, a little picture guide would probably help someone like me who's not that into this game. Oh, level 2 is Rockstar. So it features extensive desert zones along with a massive cavern, ancient ruins, and a futuristic pyramid. The boss here is Pix.
Yeah, everybody always needs a good old desert level. But you know, I'd actually know there's one fun level with this. I was just like kind of clicking through the walkthrough. There's one fun level where it's kind of like you see a giant skeleton, but you can see the crystal shard. It's like, well, how do you get this crystal shard?
Okay.
Move down the spine and you see one of those little blocks, and you're like, straightforward, easy.
Okay.
It encourages
Easy
you to like.
Peasy, like.
It's trying to be fairly straightforward at the moment.
Yeah.
It gets jank. It gets jank.
It does. Level 3, Aquastar, is a very wet world featuring tropical shorelines, river rapids, and deep ocean zones. The boss here is Acro. He's a big whale.
Yeah. There's a fun warthog section, which is kind of like a on the rails kind of jump timing.
Yeah, there was
game.
a couple like Donkey Kong kind of cart levels right through some of the platforming in this game.
Yep.
The boss here I kind of liked. It's a big whale and he kind of goes back and forth. You kind of have to watch out for his attacks, and you're like, once you beat him, you're like, great, and you go to escape a cave, and then he comes back and chases you again. I don't know. It seemed kind of fun, interesting. I like the different levels. It seemed, I don't know, like more of a boss for a game, right? It wasn't just like I couldn't tell you anything about Pix or Wispy Woods, that's for sure.
The tree.
Yeah.
Then the second one, I couldn't tell you anything about Pix either. There is a couple BS crystal shards where you literally need the like power up where you can switch between all your different like rock animal buddies.
Okay.
And you need to turn into the hamster, and then you need to work your way all the way over to like a random wall, and you have to like rhythmically like jump up this wall.
Okay.
For far too long just to get a power up because there's no flying in this game.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I definitely remember seeing that. Something I had to climb. I wasn't really interested in collecting the crystal shards. I was like, that's what YouTube's for. So I'm just gonna power through this. And I guess pulling the wool back just for this whole discussion, I played this game started months ago. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get Kirby done, get all the notes done, be ready for this podcast. Oh yeah, let's go. And I'd play like a level, and I was like, oh my god, that was numbing. And I like put it down. And then I pick up the next level and play like a couple days later, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember a lot before level 3. And then the rest I played in like an afternoon sitting on the couch, and I was like, that was it? Man, that game was fast, right? So level 4 gets us to Neo Star, It's a wild world featuring deep jungles, high craggly cliffs, massive caverns, and active volcanoes. The boss here is Magma. Magman.
There's a couple goofy more ones for the crystal shards. Like your little painter buddy has like a little, like, they'll draw something, and then you go in the next room and there's a bunch of blocks. You actually have to draw what they were, what they drew. So if it's like an umbrella or like a banana, you have to draw it. It's kind of a neat little mechanic just to get the crystal shard, but same time, heaven forbid you screw it up. You're gonna walk out of the room, and then you're gonna walk all the way back.
I do remember the little French girl being in some rooms, and I just like kept going.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple of her showing up. Like the one time she will draw like a sequence, like a drawing sequence, and like 3 like little shapes or whatever. Then you go in the next room, and you have to like hit you have to like jump or whatever on the 3 blocks that have those shapes, and then it'll give you a crystal shard. So they're trying to do interesting things that are very like, here's the visual cue or visual like clue or whatever, and it's like they're trying to incorporate, like, experiment, have fun with the game. So I appreciate them trying, but it's so basic and mind numbing. Like
there's just not a lot to this game, right? Like that's the thing. Like there's a couple levels, 5 levels and a boss, only 25 levels.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. Apparently development and like programming, it was really difficult to program Kirby's abilities. Apparently that ate up a lot of time, especially with all the different combinations, right? Like that took up just so much of the development time that they did just have this kind of plain world, and it just kind of shows, right? Like, again, they seem kind of, I'm not the target audience. Level 5 is Shiverstar. It's a very cold world with snowdrift, solid cloudscapes, a massive shopping complex, and a deep underground factory. The boss here is HR-H/HR-E.
Is that their actual name? Why do
So around level 4, somewhere, I got the Darth Maul lightsaber. And I just abused that the rest of the game. And yeah, so like me fighting Magma Man, he's kind of in the background, and he shows like little like fire tentacle things at you. You just like stand on the platform and just spin around and just deal tons of damage. So I imagine the same thing with him. I must have just like got into this fight, jumped around the room, and attacked him with my lightsaber, and like it just bleeds. Like the villains just bleed their health in this. So you're like, oh, so they're very
they have massive hitboxes.
Yeah,
they're so friendly. Yeah. I remember the lava one where you have to like attack the lava and it dies. And you're like, oh, sure. Oh, this one is like it's like the little cars. That's the one that I'm thinking, like cars on a bridge. Gave me Final Fantasy VII vibes.
Okay.
I was trying to think of anything besides this game while playing it, because you're right, it's just mind numbing. Like,
yeah,
it feels like just busy work the game, but none of it's very memorable. To a point where, like, okay, Popstar, I get it's kind of like the green grassy area. Rockstar, kind of rocks, and then Aqua's like, okay, more wet levels, but there's sometimes where you're just like in a cave, but sure, caves may be damp, and then you were in jungles and cliffs and caves and Neostar, and you're like, okay, well, this is just random. And now it seems like every section doesn't have a cohesive thought or tried, and then they just felt rushed and just tried to like scramble it. So I don't know if there was like literally 6 people that worked on this game, but it feels super budget.
No, it does. It's not very well fleshed out. The most maybe intriguing thing about the last level is Shiverstar is just Earth. It's like a frozen Earth. So maybe in the past, in the future. I guess if there's a shopping center, it's probably in the future. There's like an ice age, and Kirby comes to visit and fucks shit up. So fun. Yeah.
Well, I feel like there's a cartoon with him on Earth, so maybe.
Okay. Level 6 is Ripple Star. So it's a heart-shaped analog to Pop Star, though much more heavily developed in terms of architecture. Oh, okay. In fact, I think all the levels here felt like they were just that scene from The Matrix where Neo has all the guns and all the shelves come flying. That's all these levels were. It was like, here's every power-up in the game. Fight with them. Use them. Because you have to go fight the boss. And here's all these weapon, extra lives and health. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, I feel like they were just loading us up to if you ever
but level 2 was like that, and I was like, okay, cool. And then level 3 was the same thing, and 4, I was just like, what the heck? There's a couple lightning, it just seemed like the levels were really fast and short. And I know at one point there was a couple rooms you had to walk back and forth, but with lightsaber, just wow wow.
Oh, but yeah, it's like you blink, you just move right, and all of a sudden you're at the end of it, and it's like here's 3 small rooms stacked together. That's level. On to the next one.
Yeah, it's just boss rush. You just have to fight all the enemies in the game. Okay, cool. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Maybe I need to know how to fight all the different elements in this game. I wonder why. Because the boss here is Miracle Matter. You have to collect all the energy from all the different weapons in the game and use them against them. So he's only weak till his attack. So his ice guy, he shoots out ice. You have to reflect them back at him. His fire guy, you have to collect his little fire orbs and shoot them back at him. Genius design.
Yeah, it was. It was like a fight in a D20.
Yeah.
That changed colors.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And then that could be the end of the game. But if you were like Tyson, you love this game so much, and you went and you collected every little crystal shard, and you followed your little Nintendo Power Guide, you could actually end up at level 7, and you go to Dark Star. It's a level made up from the coalesced. That sounds like a word. Dark matter that was expelled from the Queen by reassembling the crystal. It is an only planet without a stage select screen, since only one stage is playable. There's very little terrain to traverse here, and few enemies to fight before the showdown against the final boss, O2. I didn't do that or watch, but I watched a guy beat it. It seemed, I don't know, what's that guy's name? What's the horror guy? The Cthulhu guy? Lovecraftian? Lovecraftian horror? That's what O2 is. Lovecraft, it's just weird. It's like an eyeball and he's bleeding? In a kid's game? What the fuck's going on here, O2? I'm looking at a picture of you right now. It's terrifying.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember. Then eventually it does come a Star Fox shooter at one point. Okay. And you're like, it would have been interesting if there was a 2D side-scrolling section, and then more of this Star Fox stuff. At least because it'd add variety to this mind-numbing walk right game.
Yeah.
Mash good, power up, you win, can keep going. Here's more life. Here's more. It's brainless.
Yeah. Well, like Tyson just said, what could you have done? You could have shifted this up. Yeah, let's jump right into our what would you change section. So that's the end of the game. We'll do our review and then we'll talk about the endings. But what would you change? So I said they needed to refine the controls a little bit more. It's a little bit slow paced and the platforming just feels clunky. But also give us something 3D in this 3D game. It's just a prettier looking Game Boy game at this point. It's a 2D. You just move in the one direction. It's not even the band. It's just right. There's not even some fun pop song that I couldn't tell you a One Direction song, so I can't really sing anything. But give us some other options, flip the screen, like Tyson said, Star Fox, fly around in space. You can do a lot more than just nothing, right? Use something that you're oh, it is 3D. Okay, cool. But just spend a bit more time on this game.
We're going to make 48 different bazillion power-up combinations.
Neat. Cool. But
what am I going to explore anywhere? No, you'll walk straight 3 times.
Could you just break the game by using 3 of them? Oh, yeah. If you get these 3 combinations, you win the game. Oh.
So dumb. There's a reason why other games don't just throw a bazillion power-ups, and that's the gameplay.
Yeah.
It's no. Give me some refined power-ups. Give me 7 good ones, or give me I can do double them up. If I get 2 fires, all of a sudden I get super fire powers or whatever. It's do it more focused so you can. There's actual content in the game. The game just feels so little content. What I would change is I would just add things, add more bosses, add puzzles, add something interesting to do. There's nothing to do in this game. It's so frustrating. even if it's aimed at kids, it's like kids like interactivity. This is just run right the game.
Yeah. And
like
slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you get hit, doesn't matter. Not really. Like, just keep moving right. There you are at the end. Here you go, Johnny. Here's your star. Move on. It just like feels so empty.
Yeah, and you know, like, and there's just like the fanfare at the end. You're just at a picnic. Like when you finish a level, you just on a picnic blanket, and there's like some items, and you can kind of like time your jumps to grab stuff. But like, where's my little star? Where's my little cloud that I jump up on and get levels? And where's my Kirby's dancing? And where's my him saying, "Hey"? Like, you don't get any of that, right? It's just not as fleshed out as anything, right? So, getting into the review of this game, we have to say something nice. What is our favorite part of the game?
I like Kirby as a character.
Okay, cool.
This is my least favorite Kirby game, but I know, like, in other games, he's fine. Yeah. And there are fun Kirby games out there. This is just not one of them. But I like Kirby as a character. He's adorable. I always want him and all his friends to have fun. Like, it creates a fun world. It just doesn't do anything with it, and it feels super hollow. Like, I don't know, the ad campaign and the all the different characters and the fun world that is Kirby. Just like, you like warthogs? You remember those fun warthogs? Yeah, they're gonna be in like two levels. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, that's fair. For myself, I like some of the combinations are fun. Like, specifically the lightsaber is amazing. I love just the animations of Kirby using it, right? Obviously, there was lots of time. It feels really fluid when you're spinning around doing your attacks. You just deal massive amounts of damage. I've seen other people online and just people talk about this and they're like, oh, this, you know, these 5 combinations, whatever, break the game. They're super fun to use, right? And it's just kind of the variety of gameplay and exploration in using those power-ups to properly play this game and get to experience all 36 of the power-ups and to try each one. Like, maybe that's fun. Maybe that's a fun experience, but like that's what you're going in for, is literally just to use the power-ups. The world is almost kind of like a sandbox game. Like, it's almost like a Disney Infinity game or something like that, where like, yeah, you're Jack Sparrow running around, but you can like build this cool world and you can like jump in this car and like you can have lightsabers and fight people, right? But it's just kind of mindless, and that's almost the best part of this game, is just kind of that like mindless combinations and looking things up and trying new and coming up with your own little combinations, right? So I think they did that very well, and that's obviously where they spent most of their time. It's just the game is so bland. I don't want to experience this fun thing you made.
Yeah. I mean, the power-ups are clearly got the most attention. So, I mean, there's a lot of fun ones. Like, there's one where you can turn into a fridge. You throw food as a weapon.
Yep.
If you're low on health, you can eat that food.
Yep.
There's some fun stuff in here. It's just, like, what the hell do you do in this game?
Yeah, play with the levels, or play with the weapons. Okay, how about most notable scene or part of this game? So you haven't played this game for a while. You're like, oh man, what's that thing I remember about Kirby 64? Could it be the title screen? No, that did nothing for you. How about the in-depth story? No. How about the file select? Seeing the fleeing sprite? No. Playing level 1. The 3D tree fight, the orca fight, getting to mix and match power-ups, the lightsaber, the cutscenes that don't make any sense, the false ending, and that feeling that you probably don't care enough to actually play this game to 100%, so you just look up the ending on YouTube. So of those, what is the most notable scene or part of this game?
Is the frustration I get for thinking about this game. But I don't know, that most notable, it's gotta be the power-ups.
Yeah.
Like, it's the power-ups. I mean, even though some of them are horrific, like the cutter power-up is god-awful. It's like, why is it like this?
Yeah. And
there's no parasol. Like, where's my effing parasol?
Oh yeah.
It's like, this is fundamental. I mean, you get lights like the Darth Maul lightsaber. I mean, who does want to run around as Kirby Darth Maul?
It's really awesome, guys. If you have the N64 Online expansion on your Switch already, you didn't buy it specifically for this, and you want it to like kill an afternoon, it's not the worst idea to maybe pull up an item guide and just play in this game and try the lightsaber, and you're like, oh man, that's cool. What other cool combinations can I make? You know what? It would probably be a fun hour right? You'd say, oh, that wasn't terrible that I tried all those combinations, right? But you're not getting much more of this experience, right? So that just has to be the most memorable part. It has to be the power-ups, has to be the power-ups, has to be the power-ups. So what our least favorite part of this game? For myself, I said how slow you move through the platforming sections. It's just kind of, the game doesn't allow you to move fast. It's meant to go slow. The enemies have patterns that if you just stop and wait for them to stop moving, they're not a challenge. Like those spider things, they just come down from the ceiling. And how do you kill them? You jump over them. The only way they can damage you if you jump at them. So you just wait for them to go down, and then you jump over, and then you wait for the next one to come down, and then you jump over it. And I'm like, but I don't like waiting.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You have one least favorite part? Yeah.
If I got to pick just one specific thing, I don't really get what the stakes are. It's just kind of like run around and collect shards. Like that just, there's just, it doesn't feel like there's an actual stakes in this game. And I feel like, I guess my least favorite parts of the story, like I can kind of forgive boring gameplay or monotonous gameplay. Like, you know, think of some classic old RPGs. You're kind of just mashing A the whole time.
No, running around the factory as Ness so I can fight the spacemen and get super powered up way before fighting Gygus for like an hour and a half. That's fun. Yeah. Or like, there's lots of monotony in games. I mean, you're willing to forgive it if the story is engaging. Sure.
I still like, unless I go back and re-listen to the story, I'm like, there's just no stakes. I don't get like fun cutscenes. There's not like a plot here. It
does a lot through poor animation for sure. Like it could have used text or like a little recap or just anything, right? Obviously it wasn't a very good narrative medium that they were trying to use, right? Because yeah, you're right. Everyone's just hanging out, and sometimes DDD's there, and they're on a beach, and then they jump through a portal, and now they're at the next world, and I'm like, huh? What happened? Like, where'd the portal come from? Where are they going? Who are these people? What is Waddle Dee?
No answers, just scenes that happen, and it's like, please just give me a plot. If there was a plot, I would care.
Yeah.
There's just no story.
There is not. How about criticism of this game? I think we've already kind of both been vocalized about this one. It's just the game feels empty. The levels aren't well thought out. The enemy placement is not the best. There's just nothing memorable. There's nothing magical. It just seems like it's an empty hallway with annoying obstacles that if you just waited would probably go away. So that's what you want, is just a nice slow walk down a hallway. It's just not enough. Yeah, I get it. Kirby, you got a bunch of cool power-ups. There's lots to do. But there's nothing fun to do with them. And there's no fun in your fun video game that you made. It just is an empty world with clunky controls that kind of feels like the platforming sections, like the break the targets in Smash Brothers. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, well, there's like not even really good enemies to like fight. Mm-hmm. So even if you have like fun power-ups or whatever, everything dies in one hit. So it's like, what's the difference between this power-up and that? You don't feel when one power-up's like super more powerful, or you're like, oh man, I'm just like whipping through everything. Like the lightsaber is fun because you at least kind of keep moving forward as you attack, and has this big area that it actually like does damage to. But there's some like, and like there's a giant like cannon where you're shooting lava. That's a fun little mechanic, but you walk right until you see an enemy, then you hold the button, and because it automatically shoots up, you just kind of have to shoot up and then rotate to the front. Okay, now they're dead. Okay, now walk right. So it just doesn't feel like there's like big bosses that you can do, or you're trying to outmaneuver something. Like I feel like if there was, like the boss battles were memorable, or the enemies had some substance, like it'd be funner. But it's just like everything is so barren in this game.
Yeah. Okay. A final praise before I guess we talk about the endings of this game. Yeah, that's right. I made you wait for it because I was like, you're just here for the story and the ending. I know what you're like, listeners, because I'm one of you, and I know how petty you are. So I made you wait because I can be petty too. Final praise. Do you have anything nice to say?
This game is probably very suitable for like a toddler.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool. Yeah, this game is calm, a very calm and pleasant game. It is not for me, but I could see a younger child having tons of fun with it and the chill gameplay and the 36 power-ups, right? You have a younger person in your life, kid, and you're like, oh, get into video games. They could play this. And at some point you're like, oh, you want to play? Hey, grab a couple power-ups, throw up your power-ups into the sky at one point, throw them away, and you're like, that's not what I meant to do. Goddamn buttons, stupid layout. And then you give it back to them. And I imagine they have fun, and then they have great memories, and they're like, oh, I love Kirby. And one day they buy a Kirby game for their birthday and are disappointed. So, cycle continues. Because he's a circle. Whoa.
yes, with his soulless eyes that stare at you.
Dead eyes. Shock's eyes. Godless eyes. Endings of this fun game. All right, so the bad ending. You return the sprite to the now peaceful planet. Your party says it's goodbyes, but we see that the queen has an evil look on her face, meaning dark matter still has control of her. And I was like, I'm satisfied with this ending.
You know what? There's that at least adds some stakes to this
Okay.
Care Bears
All right.
mother effing game.
But we went through it again. We were Tyson. We played through everything. We're like, this is the best. I don't know why you sound like that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll never do it again. That is the bad ending. But what happens is you have all the crystal shards, and they like shine the evil out of the queen, except the complete crystal repels the evil from the queen. And we go to fight dark matter. Kirby uses his cell phone to call his star, and he takes off to fight dark matter. Following this, the queen hosts us in her palace and gives us a little award.
Well, I like the bad ending better.
I mean, pulling out his cell phone and like calling his little star and flying around was really funny. And I saw that and I was like, that's adorable. He has a phone and he calls a ride.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's sort of adorable. There's some adorable bits of this game.
And like getting the little awards and they're all happy at the end and you get them, hi! I'm like, if the game wasn't so tedious and arbitrary, I could have tried for it. I'm glad I saw it, but it was just like...
Now imagine if this... See how the characters are like, you want to like them and you want to almost spend time with them, but you just don't?
Yeah.
Because the game is bad? It's like, if this game was better, this would be a timeless, fun classic that we can go back to. Yeah. But every so often you play as Sarge's Heroes.
No, this is better than Sarge's Heroes.
I don't know. At least Sarge's Hero had characters.
Yeah, it's true. Vicky was like, I still think about Vicky all the time. She's very deep. In this game, we're done. We have like an Are You Buying, which is like a fan theory section. Normally there's like tons of lore. There's this whole Dark Matter trilogy that's going on. There's this whole Dark Matter thing. There's Meta Knights. There's a Frozen Earth. But I was just like, I don't know if I care enough about Kirby games to know about the lore. Like, it's just something I'm not going to look into. So I apologize. Anyone that came specifically for the lore section dump at the end of this, there's probably a great YouTube video that I could turn you on. They'd be like, there you go. That's how this works.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, all the stories are pretty bland. Actually, I tried to watch a retrospective on like the story of Kirby games, and like some of the games are like, King Dedede was bad, and then Kirby saved him, and that's like the entirety of like the first game. I'm like, oh, and then he was taken over again, but Kirby saved him and fought Dark Matter, and I'm like, that was the lore of a whole game. Okay.
It's not a story-driven franchise.
Yeah. No, it's just fair. Cool. So I guess that'd be a very short podcast if we stopped here. But we could do a cultural significance, though. Guys, I was like, we need to do something. What has Kirby brought us other than pain and disappointment? And I was going to list out all of the most disappointing moments in Tyson's entire life. But I thought, I don't know if that's very interesting. So in this section, though, we look at game designs, the lore inspirations, turning points, interesting stories, talk about how this game relates, give other examples, and tie it all back together in the end, because we're not doing that. And Tyson's also not a game, so like we can't talk about his embarrassing moments. So learning how he was this the first time you were ever disappointed in your life?
No, I've been disappointed before that, but this is definitely one of those like landmark disappointments where it's like
you need to be a bit better with what you buy.
Maybe,
buyers
but also
beware.
It's like and advertisers lie to you. This might have been the start of me being cynical in life.
Okay, cool.
So we can blame Kirby 64 for my sunny outlook.
Great. Awesome. So I could have done a deep dive into the Earth being a giant frozen ball in this game, but in case we missed talking about the weapon combinations, we'll do a weapon combination battle royale. Could you imagine we get to this part? Like, we had a terrible time. If we were not talking about the common. What the hell were we talking about in this game? Like, I guess we were just like bitching. Oh, this game's dumb. I'm a man. I want man games, not boy games. Oh, okay. Cool. Great, yeah. Good commentary. Thanks for bringing that in. I also think I was a joke. I was like, well, maybe we missed it. I don't know. But not all 36 guys. No. I'm just going to give you the top 16 ranked by some guy on a Mario forum. We're going to have a battle royale to see what's the best power-up. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Now, 1 versus 16. That's our first matchup. We have the Refrigerator, which is Ice and Spark, versus the Giant Claw, which is Needles and Cutter.
Okay. I've got to quickly Google Giant Claws here. Because I know Fridge.
Yep.
Fridge is top tier. That is a top tier one. Definitely would have been.
You kind of do like his arms almost become giant claws and he kind of like clamps overhead. So it's like kind of unidirectional, only attacks things above you.
Yeah. I don't like that design.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Okay.
I'm going to say Fridge.
Sick.
Fridge all day.
Sick.
Love me some Fridge.
Awesome. All right. How about our number 8-9 matchup? We have Animal Statues, which is Stone and Cutter, versus Curling Stone, which is Stone and Ice.
Ooh. Unfortunately, Animal Stones is another top. I like that one. I really like animal ones. That's one of my favorite part of every Kirby games, which is missing in this game, is the animals and the animal buddies. But we kind of get them in this ability, and you kind of get a cycle through them. And there's not a time limit, but as soon as you take damage, you fall out of it. But if I get to play as the hamster, yeah, that one's getting the edge here. So statues definitely take this one.
Wow, I can't believe you went over your Canadiana and didn't just go with the Curling Stones to the finals, because that's my choice. I think that's the best one, eh? Number 4 is Fireworks, which is Fire and Bomb, versus the Mega Stone, which is Stone times 2.
Yeah. Mega Stone's interesting. It kind of comes in clutch in a few areas.
Yeah.
But my goodness, in a game that doesn't have a run, making me walk slower it should be abolished.
Yeah.
So Fireworks, not the greatest, but you're moving on to the next round because Megastone, you slowed me down.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that is our still no underdogs won yet thus far. Maybe this guy ranked everything appropriately. Number 5 is Explosive Ninja Bombs, which is Bomb plus Cutter, versus 12, which is the Drill, which is Stone and Needles.
Okay. I do appreciate the shurikens or the ninja bombs, or whatever the heck they are. Mm-hmm. Do appreciate them. They're pretty dope. But the drill is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, and it's also very solid. That is a solid power. I like this. I've used this kind of weapon in other games. It's very straightforward. So you know what? I'm going to give it to drill. The explosive ninja bomb's just a bit too difficult to use.
Yeah, that's fair. Big upset. It's always the 12 over the 5. Always remember that when you're filling out your bracket next year, guys. Always the 12 over the 5. Number 2, so I guess we're the bottom half of the brackets here. We got the Flaming Sword, which is Fire and Cutter, versus just 15, which is the Bomb.
I like the bomb.
Yep.
The bomb design is very cute.
Yep.
However, I seem to always take damage.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm using this darn thing. Flaming Sword. You might be. I think you're in for a rough ride. You're ranked 2nd right now, but I don't know. You're gonna get it. You're gonna make it to the next round, but
yeah. Okay.
Bomb brought this way too close for comfort.
Oh, it's what's it called? A last second bucket made. Now, what are those called? Buzzer beater. Buzzer beater win for the Flaming Sword. All right, number 7, 10 matchup sees the Flaming Sword, which is Fire and Needle, versus the 10, which is Ice Skates, Ice and Cutter.
Flaming Arrow.
What did I say?
I think you said sword.
Oh, okay. So Flaming Arrow.
Flaming Arrow versus Ice Skates. You know what? Another upset. This bottom bracket is just being tossed upside down. Ice Skates, the Canadian in me is coming out over the Flaming Arrow.
Right.
Takes a little bit of a wind up. You kind of got to aim it down. Not for me. Give me the ice skates. I'll skate around like I'm Sidney Crosby.
Oh, give me some more speed. Excellent, excellent. Good. Number 87, our captain. Is he the captain of Team Canada? Probably. He's pretty good. Ice skates. Good job. Number 314 matchup is number 3 lightsaber, Spark and Cutter versus the 14 electric energy field, which is Spark plus Spark.
Okay. Yeah. This one easy, hands down, lightsaber.
Okay.
Like it's a lightsaber, Darth Maul. Like,
yeah.
As cool as the electric energy field is, which is it's fine. Lightsaber. Like this is my top seed. You're making it through the next round easy.
Yeah, awesome. And then finally, our 6-11, so that ends our first round matchups. We have the Lightning Boulder at 6, that's Stone and Spark, versus number 11, which is just Ice.
Ooh. Both not great.
Mm-hmm.
Both not great. Mm-hmm. But a Lightning Boulder kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
It seems a little like clunky to use, and I can't seem to hit things directly in front of me. Whereas ice is just a bit more reliable. It's a little generic, turning into a giant icicle, but this bottom bracket,
a lot of upsets.
I'm going ice.
After I called out the first 3, we almost had all upsets. So cool. Well, except for that one. Yeah. Well, 2. Okay, so we have the number 1-8 matchup, which is the Fridge versus Animal Statues.
Oh man, this could have been the finals in another lifetime. I love the Fridge. I do. It's hilarious. But the Animal Statues, just too much utility. It's too useful in the game. It's game breaking. You need it to get the good ending. I gotta go Animal Statues.
All right, boop. Number 8, Animal Statues. Moving on. How about number 4, Fireworks versus number 12, Drill.
Ooh, another upset. Drill's moving on.
Sick.
Okay. Fireworks looks pretty, kind of clunky.
Yeah.
Drill, good old fashioned. Nothing beats Drill.
No, good old Drill. All right, how about number 12 Drill beat Animal Statues to go to the finals?
Ooh, unfortunately, foolish Drill. Always picking Drill. It's got to be Animal Statues.
All right.
Just too much utility.
So nothing beats the Drill except for the Animal Statues.
Exactly.
Perfect. Great. Awesome. Cool. Now we'll move to the bottom bracket. Run through that quickly. We got the number 2 Flaming Sword versus number 10 Ice Skates.
Ooh, another one that Flaming Sword is just getting by. If you didn't have such an easy past the finals, it would have been different. Okay. But Flaming Sword's going to take the ones over Ice Skates. Right. Ice Skates just, cool, not great.
No, absolutely. And then we got the number 3 versus 11 matchup. That's Lightsaber versus Ice.
Ooh, Lightsaber all day.
All right.
My top seed moves on. Ice. Surprised you made it this far.
Yeah, that's fair. And then number 3 versus number 2. So Flaming Sword or a Lightsaber.
Lightsaber. Come on. I can't believe Buddy originally put 2. I understand it was just below it, but Lightsaber, man.
Yeah, it's kind of overpowered. Yeah. So then Lightsaber versus Animal Statues.
Ooh, here comes the sun. I don't know. This one's tough. I like these the best. Okay. I think I'm gonna go to Lightsaber because honestly, I forgot it was in this game, and when I found it, I came across the combination. I was like, okay, cool.
Sick. Okay, that's great.
So I ended up rocking that for as much as I could. If I wasn't using Lightsaber, I was using Animal Statue. Animal Statues is a little bit more utility, but honestly, the having to rotate through all of them because sometimes I just want the good owl. Don't give me the garbage owl. Or the garbage bird. It's like you have to rotate through these ones and it's random, so sometimes you just don't even get it. Good old Lightsaber never fails me. Just murders everything in front of you. Gives you the really Anakin Skywalker and Revenge of the Sith vibes.
Yes.
Even though it's like you're just murdering everything in front of you at that point. So
nice.
That's my pick.
Solid. Awesome. Well, that is a good job by Lightsaber. It was also my favorite. It was one of the things I remember when this game came out being like, oh, it's awesome. Kirby has a Darth Maul lightsaber. Darth Maul was also the coolest. Well, he wasn't that cool. He had a cool design. It was good marketing, but the Phantom Menace was bad. It's gonna get worse though,
yeah.
so that's exciting. That's something to look forward to. 2000.
Like, how could it get worse?
Oh man,
Well,
yeah. Oh boy. Oh shoot. Cool. So with that, I think we're done with Kirby 64. It's off the list. Good job. Great. Are we ever going
Yeah.
to see another Kirby game?
I can't think of one that it's like, oh, like, this one needs to be in the list, because I can't even think of the GameCube one.
They get weird because it's like he becomes Yarn at some point, and like
Oh, yeah.
there's one where he's like in a mech or something. Yeah.
Well, if one of us really gets into yarning, you'll know, because we're doing the yarn one.
Pretty close. I think we were talking about inflation earlier in this podcast, so yarning is probably pretty close. So that I think we'll just say goodbye, get out of here, and then we're in Scary Spooky Month, so that's pretty exciting. So this comes out, and then a couple weeks we're into the horror of Silent Hill.
Yes, have fun, everybody.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I think we're doing game then movie, but based on time, we could also easily do the movie and then game. So
True,
Cool.
true. But
Awesome.
watch both. Play along. It's the first one. We're not playing the second one. Maybe another year.
if we're not too scared, but no promises. So until then,
Nope.
see you guys in a couple weeks for Scary Spooky Month with the Scary Silent Hill.
See you.
Bye.